In immigration, as in economic policy, as on foreign policy, this is a government that stands on principle. And from my earliest days as a Conservative candidate through the election of 2011 through to my first trip to Sri Lanka in the spring of 2012, we have stood on the same principle, which is that the people of Sri Lanka, the Tamils of the north and east of Sri Lanka in particular, deserve a better fate. They deserve peace. They deserve reconciliation. They deserve accountability. They deserve all of those steps that should go with the end of a conflict in a democratic system of government wherever one may happen to find oneself around the world. And we haven't seen those steps taken by the government of Sri Lanka. We warned them that there would be consequences in terms of our bilateral relations, in terms of our participation in the Commonwealth Summit, and I am absolutely proud, with my colleagues, to be part of a government that is taking action on its principles, that is standing alone for now on this question of participation at the highest level in the Commonwealth Summit, but it's something that Canada has done before. And as you know, leadership is sometimes lonely. It is always challenging. It is usually challenging in this day and age to do the right thing, but this is a Prime Minister that is not afraid of taking on those burdens. This is a team that is absolutely committed to doing the right things. And thank you so much today for being with us today to show us what a success immigration to Canada continues to be, how we can continue to come together as Canadians to take principled positions on the issues that count. And let's remind ourselves, this is not just about Sri Lanka. This is about the Commonwealth. This is about an institution to which we have belonged as Canadians since its inception, and which we insist meet the highest standards of freedom, democracy, human rights, and the rule of law. That's why we're taking this position. That's why we're standing up for the Tamils of Sri Lanka. That's why we're standing here today with you. And thank you once again for joining us today.
We wish that Sri Lanka was on the path to peace. We wish that accountability was happening, that lives were being rebuilt in the way we know they can and should be, but it's not happening. And that's why we've taken this stand of principle, and we're proud to do so, because leadership in the Commonwealth is a proud tradition for Canada. We've done it in decades past on other issues like apartheid in South Africa, like Pakistan's nuclear program, when that came onto the world agenda at the end of the last century. But this issue is equally important, and it matters for an absolutely critical Sri Lankan community, and it matters for us as Canadians.
So what do you think about this event today?
Well, I think it's democracy in action. It shows us that we're accountable as elected representatives to 35 million people and to our voters. It also shows us that there is a dialogue underway on the issues that count. And whether it's our principled position on Iran, or our support for the Syrian people during their civil war, or this stand on the Commonwealth Summit being hosted by Sri Lanka. And this is an unprecedented issue. We've never seen a Commonwealth Summit hosted by a country that stands accused of such serious and systematic human rights violations. And that's why Canada is standing up, and that's why we're proud to see the support we have across Canada, and not just in the Sri Lankan Tamil Canadian community, but among many, many people who care about the Commonwealth and care about Sri Lanka.
So what kind of impression or message do you think such events send out to the Canadian citizens and to the world?
Well, I think it reminds us that foreign policy doesn't belong to a few people sitting in the Pearson building or sitting in our embassies abroad. It is these are national decisions that we take in democratic ways. We debate these issues in Parliament. All parties support our position on this. We debate it in our homes, in media, in civil society, and that's exactly what's happening today. So we are, on the one hand, deeply concerned that accountability and reconciliation haven't come to Sri Lanka since the conflict ended. On the other hand, we think the Commonwealth should be the place where those high standards of human rights, the rule of law, democracy are upheld. And so our Prime Minister, the Right Honourable Stephen Harper, is not going to the Commonwealth Summit because he does not believe the Commonwealth should be hosted by a government that has not met these standards and violated these principles.
So Prime Minister Harper has mentioned that the government is considering on a review in regards to the funding to the chairperson of the Commonwealth.
Yes.
What do you think about this?
I think it needs to be reviewed. We've seen the British government actually reduce funding for the Commonwealth Secretariat, even though their head of government will attend the summit as things stand now. So this is not something that only Canada is doing. We need a Commonwealth that is standing up for the same principles that its members embrace and that it embraced from the beginning.